Joining us this morning, Dr. MC Mishra. He's the former director of AIMS. Good morning, Dr. Mishra. Also joining me is Dr. Parthiv Sanghvi. He's a senior pulmonologist. He's joining me from Mumbai. Good morning to both of you. Dr. Mishra, if I could come to you first. Now, Dr. Mishra, we have seen in the past 48 hours or so emergency measures come in, whether it is the kind of lockdown that we are seeing in Delhi, or it is more mini lockdowns across the state, night curfews and so on and so forth. Now, what is your sense? How do we now stay ahead of the curve? How do we now ensure that we are able to get a handle on the situation?
Yeah, man, it's a deep sea and devil. That is the situation governments are in. If they don't put lockdown, people don't stop moving about, and they are not taking preventive measures also. They are not putting on minimal requirement of mask properly. Cases are increasing by the hour. All the infrastructure in healthcare as well as in societal infrastructure, whether in terms of ambulances and also cremation grounds, are working overboard, and there are problems. People are waiting to be cremated even for 20 hours and 24 hours. So a whole lot of problems are being faced in the light of increased number of infections. And we have been discussing for the last 2 to 3 weeks what is the best solution. Naturally, governments were very reluctant to put the kind of lockdowns which we witnessed last year around this time. But if the infected number rises like this for another 2 weeks, we'll be in a much worse situation. So governments have been compelled, whether it's Maharashtra government, Delhi government, or even UP government might take these measures. So far they have not. But if the situation is already out of hand and out of gear, as regards the people waiting outside every hospital, whether public or private, getting into the hospital for a bed, in ICU for a bed, oxygen in fear that it will be in short supply. The drugs are black marketed, and also there is spurious drugs, remdesivir. So there is people, despite that we are discussing this on various electronic media channels, most people who seem to be affected don't seem to watch television, it seems. So they are really out of touch what is happening, and we saw the scenes as you were showing yesterday at Anand Vihar terminal and railway stations. Again, the same kind of scenes we witnessed exactly 1 year ago, and we are witnessing again. So people with limited resources, they are right that this lockdown for 6 days or 7 days might be extended, which can happen because 1 week, if it does not deliver the results which we are anticipating to bring down the number of infected individuals, it might go up to 2 weeks or 3 weeks. But that means these people do not have enough resources to bank upon and stay back. That is a bit surprising. Although not everyone is leaving, there are people like we know that the individuals who come for help to us in our domestic and other services are very much there, and they are working, and we are allowing, we are wherever possible by taking precautions, preventive measures ourselves as well as those who are coming for work. But that's I think mindset we we saw in Mumbai also the same scenes we witnessed. So I think this creates more problem, and then it somewhere we start thinking, did we do the right thing by announcing lockdown, or we were better off without announcing lockdown? So nobody knows what is ideal, what should be done, what should not be done. Because if you do one thing, the one set of people get affected, and then there is another set of new problems crop up as they are. And if you do not put lockdown, as we were all asking, that maybe that is the only short lockdown might be the only solution to put a downward trend on these infections. So it's a real nobody knows what is really should be done and how we should take it forward, except that now the announcement on that 18 plus and everyone will be entitled to get a vaccine from 1st of May. So that is something, of course, it will not work for this wave of infections, but naturally it might work for the future, July, August, September, the third wave or so. So people must come forward, and that has been done looking at the stock of vaccines with both the Bharat Biotech and the Serum Institute. And the Prime Minister had a detailed meeting yesterday throughout the day with the officials. And this decision must have been taken after a careful assessment of the number of doses available from 1st of May. And if we are able to even vaccinate 7 crore population a month, which we have not done so far, total vaccinations have just crossed 12 crores. If we look at maybe 12.5 crore since 16th of January. So it is 3 months precisely, and we have only 4 crores a month. So if we achieve double this number in May and June, then at least we are prepared for future, like it is happening in USA and UK. The number of infections are coming down. At least 25% of their population has received both the doses. Like here in India, out of 12.5 crores or people who have received vaccination, only 1 dose has been received by majority. So
Right.
we have to go a long way.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Dr. MC Mishra, as you're pointing out, there really are no easy answers over here. Let me also bring in Dr. Sanghvi now. Dr. Sanghvi, in Maharashtra, we have seen this wave for almost a while now. It's been a month since we've seen an increase in infections. In fact, at least in Mumbai, the numbers have now begun to come down. There were suggestions that were made earlier that perhaps Maharashtra may have reached its peak and, will begin coming down. But that, the Chief Minister just yesterday said that he could now announce a full lockdown. He's still evaluating the situation. So, as far as Maharashtra is concerned, where do you think we stand and how do we bend the curve now?
Good morning. Well, as Maharashtra is concerned, everybody knows that the numbers are maximum in Maharashtra, and there are 2 reasons for the same. Number one is the tracing and tracking of all the contacts which is being done, and the increased number of RT-PCR tests which are being done. So both these are leading to increased numbers. Well, we are not afraid of the increased numbers. What we need to now do is to see that the situation comes under control. Now this lockdown, or what as our Chief Minister says, the Janta curfew, is not really doing what it was desired to. And we are still getting high numbers to the tune of 60,000 plus per day in the state of Maharashtra. So I fully agree with the Chief Minister that unless and until more strict measures like a complete lockdown, which was imposed last year, is not done, I don't think we will be able to have a situation which can be handled. At this point of time, we are in a terrible mess. There is a fear mongering, there is a panic situation, because any person who is detected positive is fearing that how is he or she going to get oxygen? How is he or she going to get injection remdesivir? So all these thoughts are there, which are also making them go for early hospitalizations. Result is that the hospitals, either in the public or the private sector, are overwhelmed. There is not a single capacity of bed in the ward or in the ICU or in the jumbo centers. Oxygen deficit remains, and we really do not know how can we tackle such huge numbers. So I strongly adhere to the guidelines which our Honorable Chief Minister has said. And if he proposes for a stricter lockdown, which I or rather the entire medical fraternity does feel is the need of the hour, then only can we bring these increased numbers under control. Because whatever we might say, whatever the leaders of the state or the center say, people are not adhering to COVID guidelines, and we see a complete lack of COVID appropriate behavior.
Right, Dr. Mishra as well as Dr. Sanghvi do stay with us. We slip into a very short break. When we return, we will continue to look at cases from across the country.